Hello, today's topic is random SMCU theories I have that make little to no sense. While some of these do have some content to back them up, most of the theories are only coherent if you think about them really hard at 3 a.m. Without further ado, let's get started. Remember when aespa's symbol showed up at the end of one Monster in Infinity? For the most part, it was noted and then forgotten. Well, until SM created aespa's account with that same symbol. I think it's going to be the same case with Ed from episode 1 Black Mamba.
닝닝, 얼마 안 남았어.
슬슬 시작해볼까?
Okay.
Ningning's section of the video shows her speaking with this Ed character, who seems to be working with her to hack the exhibit. We also see and hear this character throughout the clip, as well as comments being surprised or giving compliments about Ed. If Ed wasn't some sort of spoiler, then SM probably would have had some nameless person or group talk to Ningning about hacking the exhibit, or left the scene entirely to Ningning. Ed could be anything from a new NCT member to a trainee planning to debut in SM's new boy group, or even the name of the new group itself. The Tree of Life is an important piece of EXO's story, so the inner theorist in me is no longer able to see trees in most SM music videos as just normal trees. One such example is the tree in Next Level. I saved a picture of it to my tree board on Pinterest and noticed similarities to the Tree of Life from Mama. Is it a bit of a stretch? Yes. But if you look at both, you can see the lines and orbs hanging down from the branches on each, and the bend in the trunk in opposite directions. What's even weirder is if you invert the pictures, they match. The green and gold hues become the purplish blue hues and vice versa. Lee Suman also said Exoplanet is beside aespa's world. For these reasons, I think this tree in Next Level is either the Tree of Life or a version of it. I also pay plenty of attention to modes of transportation, two of which include elevators and trains. We see these a lot in music videos, and elevators are especially notable with NCT. I don't think these trains and elevators simply go from floor to floor or city to city, so let's look at some ways they appear. Trains have been an important part in connecting artists since before it was confirmed they were all connected, such as with SM stations. However, this has become even more prevalent recently, with the same train appearing in multiple music videos, and it seems like they appear more often than not. One of the most memorable SM trains, in my opinion, is the train from the 2019 SM Town VCR. The Fantasia Express goes to the planets of different artists, leading me to believe that the trains likely are used to travel between dimensions. I think elevators are also used for an abnormal method of travel, and by that, I mostly mean travel through time. NCT has used the past, present, and future theme for a very long time, such as with Without You. This theme was very evident during NCT 2020, and based on the use of elevators during certain transitions and locations, I don't think it's too far-fetched that it could be part of a method of time travel. I cannot emphasize how important I think dimensions are. I'm not just talking about other realms of existence or where different groups are, I mean dimensional planes. As a disclaimer, my understanding of dimensions is somewhat limited, however, there are some interesting things I've picked up on from what I do now. First of all is the professor's board. On the sticky notes, you can see drawings of a 2D square, a 3D cube, and so on. Most of the other decipherable things on the board have to do with the avatars, so it's presumable that these drawings do too. This led me to think about how the portrayal of the flat in episode 1 Black Mamba is a 2D cartoon, and the real world is 3D. But does a 4D also exist in the SMCU? On the same sticky note, there's a diagram of a 4D shape, which would potentially mean a fourth dimension. From what I gathered, the fourth dimension pinpoints any time and space, and I've linked a video below that talks more about that concept. As we've seen in several group concepts, traveling through time and space is a recurring theme, and the group I think would have had the most involvement with this is FX. Four walls seem to have a lot to do with dimensions, and overall seems like it would have been an important piece in the SMCU. You may have heard of the Ice Cream Project, in which songs by many SM artists are remixed by artists under Scream Records, which is an SM sublabel. One theory that I believe is that the sound on the logo indicates SMCU content, and based on this, all of the remixes are part of the SMCU. Additionally, several recent releases by the artists under Scream Records have had the sound. So I think these artists are also connected to the SMCU, and the items in the remixes might pinpoint important lore elements from the music videos. This is probably the weirdest theory I have, and I really did come up with it in the early hours of the morning. I was watching the music video for Turn Back Time by Wavy and looking up translations for both versions of the song when I noticed several similarities to Lucky One by EXO. Besides both taking place in a logo-shaped prison, the biggest factor is the cells. In Turn Back Time, looking in from the outside, all the rooms look the same. However, the individual member shots show that the rooms appear different to the members in the prison cells. This reminded me of the theory that the rooms in Lucky One have different music videos inside, for example, Love Me Right. Additionally, it seems members in both songs are being experimented on or subdued in some way. The final straw for me was the translation of the Korean version of Turn Back Time mentioning being stuck in a maze. A maze. So maybe, just maybe, the prison in Turn Back Time is a future rundown version of the Lucky One prison or something of that nature. My next theory mainly relies on two things: heavily analyzing lyrics and the fact that Lee Soo-min already had the Avatar concept in mind back in 2016. When episode 1 Black Mamba came out, the professor in it said this.
사람들은 자신의 아이를 인지하지 못하는 경우도 있고 또 다른 일부는 자신의 아이와 활발한 교류를 시도하기도 해.
We have also learned that sharing interests and secrets with your eye helps grow a stronger bond, which reminded me of NCTU's 90s Love. The lyrics talk a lot about sharing an interest in 90s pop culture with the listener. However, who is the listener they're addressing here? The video also features whatever this is. Some songs become rather different if thought about in the context of NCT trying to connect to their eyes. One example is NCT 127's Limitless, but there are a few others as well. While I do think it's possible that the lyrics of some of their songs could be addressed to their eyes, it's definitely not a theory I want to be true. I much prefer the idea of the songs being addressed to fans and other human listeners, Listen, I'm telling you right now, umbrellas are not normal. And I have almost nothing to base that on except gut feeling. But I mean, don't you feel chills when you see these artists with their umbrellas, or the expressions they have? Or find it strange to see a dark red umbrella in a bright butterfly-painted room? I know, it's probably the inner theorist in me overreacting again. But if we find out later that the umbrellas represent some sort of secret SMCU organization or something wacky like that, well, I called it. Although these are pretty strange theories, are there any you agree with? Or, on the other hand, anything you highly doubt? I'd also love to hear whatever theories you have, so feel free to share in the comments if you'd like. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.